Welcome to Vivid Talk. I'm your host, Gwen Witherspoon, and I am the Principal and Chief Visionary Officer of Adam Red, an Atlanta branding agency. I'm a brand strategist and a Better Life coach. Vivid Talk Live is all about your personal and professional development. I want to help you learn a fresh way of thinking and doing for all you were designed to build. I am streaming live to Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and you can watch the stream and replays on gwenwitherspoon.com. Replays are available also on my website at IGTV and on Twitter. So make sure you follow your favorite channels so you'll receive notifications when I go live Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tonight, I'm continuing my Vision Theory series. I've created some brain hacks, I like to call them, my own theories to simplify all the stuff that makes you stop, and I'm going to share them with you. Introduce yourself in the comments and don't hesitate to ask questions as we go. I'll do my best to try to watch the comments, but if I miss it, Katrina and Ron are going to be there helping me monitor the comments. So thank you so much for joining me. Please share the link to invite your friends, and when we return, I'll be talking about how to live your life at play. So welcome back. Make sure you are following Gwen, at Gwen Fuchsius on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Periscope, and Gwen Witherspoon Coach on YouTube. So now also everything you want to know about everything I'm doing. Oops, I got the wrong one on the website. There we go, gwenwitherspoon.com. And that's going to have a way to contact me. You can go ahead and click on the contact form there and send me a message if you have a question, you have a comment, anything that you need. And then also you can shop there on our store. You can watch live. You can watch replays. That's the spot. Everything you need to know. So tonight, now I'm going to continue. I told you. Listen up, okay. Okay, Renee, I love it. Hi, how you doing, Renee? Good to see you again. I love my hair, girl. You the Coco Bella queen. I need my Coco Bella, so I have to place my order. So I'm gonna say it I'm gonna say it again publicly so that I'll be held accountable. Every time I wet my hair in the morning, I think of Coco Bella. So I need to get some. But I wanted to make sure we go ahead and continue with the Vision Theory series. And I'm going to tell you real quick, it includes how to write your vision, which is basically using this vivid model that I've created to help you learn how to grow, how to write your vision, how to make it plain for other people so they can run with it, run with it with you. And then step 2 is how to plan. I have a kind of my own brain hack, how to building the arc. So just to help you learn how to plan anything, also how to produce. We talked about that last week. Really how to clear what I call the brainstorm so that you can focus and systematically master your habits. And then number 4, how to manage the process. That's my system, my Flip Productivity system. I call it a life and planning system, really to help you manage everything that we're talking about and everything that we're doing. You can't just get an idea, right? You need tools, you need resources, you need a coach, you need a system and a way to help you think differently so that you can behave differently, right? I said this is about fresh ways of thinking and doing so that you can be everything that God designed you to be. And so that's what we're talking about tonight. The last vision theory is how to live your life at play. And so play really is about, okay, I keep forgetting to go to the next screen here. Let's go there. Whoops, I'm not getting there. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Let's see. There we go. All right. Technical difficulties. The producer, my producer is MIA. I'm the producer. Ha. Okay, but I wanted to go ahead and talk about really how to live your life at play and living your life at play. I've created what I call the play formula. Hey, Chef Sonia, good to see you. I've created what I call the play formula, and play is about it's simple things. It always cracks me up that I created a formula because I hated math when I was in high school. I did everything I possibly could. When I graduated and went to college, I was so grateful that I was an art major, and at the time they didn't require art majors to do math. But I have my own formula, so I discovered that when you know your strengths and you are building on those strengths instead of focusing all your attention on all the things that you're not good at, because that's what we naturally will do. If there's something wrong, we're going to see that long before we really recognize the good things that we have, the strengths, that these God-given talents and graces and just who we are intrinsically. So when you learn how you, first of all, when you discover what your strengths are and then you build your life around that, then you add meaning. You got to look for things that matter to you. And I've said before, I've known so many people who were making really good money, but they were not doing work that mattered to them. So they often either stayed in those jobs and stayed miserable because they needed the financial sustenance, or they just left, and abandoned it all. And I think you don't have to choose between the two. And I think once you know who you are and you know what's important to you, then you know how to spend your time. So strengths plus meaning divided by time equals play. So that's how you never work. They say you never work again a day in your life. Back in the old days, you just say you want to mix your avocation with your vocation. And really, it's just about finding what your life's work is and going after that, and just really living that way every day. So I wanted to go. Let me see. I want to give you some top line tips around what living your life looks at play looks like. So, first of all, first and foremost, we have to know who you are. And that's really easy to say, really, and it's not quite as easy to do. We really are spending our entire lives learning who we are, learning that everything that we were created to be, everything that's possible, and the challenge is we want to make sure that we don't allow the traumas, the disappointments, the pain, just the difficulties of life to stunt our growth and to stop us from recognizing who we are, these amazing creatures that God has made us to be. And so the first step is you want to know yourself. And on day 2, I talked about identity as the step 2 in the Vivid model. And identity, I talked about 3 things about examination, exploration, and experimentation. And tonight, I want to add to that evidence. The way that you know who you are, just like anything else, you've got to investigate. You've got to explore. You've got to just find evidence so that you can start putting the pieces together, so that you can start telling your own story. And that's the most difficult thing for any of us to do, is to tell our own story. And you don't know the story if you don't. You gotta hear it. You gotta study it. You have to learn it. You have to embrace it, right? You have to identify the things that really matter to you, and you're only gonna do that with some effort. And I often quote. I quoted poorly early on in the Vivid Talk Live series, Galatians 6:4 from the Message translation. And it says, make a careful exploration of who you are and the work you've been given. I want to read this really slow because I really want this just to resonate with you. Make a careful exploration of who you are and the work you have been given. You have been given a specific work to do. And then you have to sink yourself into that. Now, I love, and you hear me say this over and over, I love personality assessments. I take them all the time. And I find that most people, when they do something like that, we treat it like a zodiac sign. You know, what's your sign? I'm an Aries, I'm a Sagittarius, I'm a Pisces, right? And then we just move on. We don't really think about it anymore. But one of the things I like about assessments is that every one that you take shows you a different aspect of your personality. If you stop with one, you're only going to get part of the story, right? Because they all measure different things. So I want to encourage you to take assessments. And there are, I think there's freetest.com. I'm going to check that and after the fact and make sure I give you the right one. But there are a couple of websites where you can go and just take the assessments for free. If you want deeper results and analytics, you can pay some small fee. But those are really good tools. Again, I've gone on and take them all. I'm obsessed, right? And then I love Strengths Finder. So that was one of the reasons I talked about strengths in that play formula. They talk about 5 strengths. It helps you identify your top 5. And there's another different assessment that gives you an opportunity to identify 34 different variations of those in your personality. And I also love the brain map. And brain map identifies your unique thinking patterns, your basic thinking profile. And when it comes to your brain, we all have intrinsically ways of being, ways of doing, ways of responding. And sometimes those are impacted by your environment or the experiences, but it also is really determined by just who you are and what God has put inside of you and how He's made you. Sometimes the things that you get angry about are the things that are pointing to who you are and what God really gave you to do. So everything isn't all positive and rosy, but all of those things are clues, right? But with your brain, we can change our way of thinking. We can get a fresh way of thinking by doing something different, by changing our habits, like we talked about last week, by changing those brain patterns that we have created by how we have lived, how we have instinctively responded, right? And then I also love the builder profile built by Gallup. And so all of those and others, many others, I've told you, I've got a book full of the results from them. And what I suggest you do is you get all of those results and you circle and underline and highlight whatever helps you. But you circle and underline and highlight those things that you think are true, because these are tools that are created by a person, and sometimes they're created by machines. So they may not, everything that you see may not necessarily resonate with you personally. But with those things that do, circle them, highlight them, so that then you can start forming your own dictionary, right? Your own, that's it. Everybody needs their own dictionary. And that dictionary needs to be a series of words, a collection of words and phrases that describe you, that make your soul sing, that help you understand more and more and more about yourself. You can also keep track of the things that other people say about you. And sometimes the negative things that people say about you, especially if you hear them over and over, again, sometimes those things can help point you to who you really are. And they can be painful, of course. Some of them can be hurtful. Some of them can be intentionally hurtful. Some people are hurtful without knowing they're doing it. But all of those things, really, you can use them and to help you formulate just your own language to describe like who you are. So you need your own billboard, because you have to be the prophet of your own future. And you need your own dictionary, because you need a language to describe who you are, to understand. You need to get a PhD in you, really. You have to study who you are. And because what did Galatians say? You have to sink yourself into that. And it goes on after that in the next verse. It says that each of us has to do our creative best with what we've been given. You got to, with the life that you've been given, you have to create it for yourself. you know? And so you're going to do that first and foremost by knowing who you are, because you're the key. You're the center of your own world, and you have to know who you are so that you can just step out every day boldly and face the day with excitement and joy. So so really looking for evidence, investigating, searching out information about yourself. That's super important. It's not self-indulgent if it is not self-indulgent if one, you are not comparing yourself to other people. I just want to pause. Self-indulgence is not just arrogance. Self-indulgence is comparing yourself to other people, because what you're doing, really, it's a false, it's messing me up. It's a false it's false humility to compare yourself to other people, right? You're like, oh, let me see how they are. Because what you're doing is you're saying that you are not this fearfully, wonderfully made creature. That you are saying that somehow, if God made everyone and He made you, that God messed up when He stopped at you, right? Like, how ridiculous a thought is that? And so what we do is we compare ourselves to other people because we're trying to see, do I measure up? And then sometimes we're comparing ourselves to other people because we're trying to look for evidence that we are better than them. But in both cases, can't you see how both of those are losing equations? Because you can't control what anybody else does, who they are. You can't control the gifts they have. You can't control how they use what they've been given. You can't control the opportunities that come their way, just as you didn't make yourself. So all you can do is work with what you've been given. And so the first thing to do is to study yourself, right? And do the best you can with that. So that's really your only responsibility. And the first step to really knowing who you are. And then the next thing is you got to be aware of your gifts. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say, I don't have any gifts. And again, that is not true, because you are saying, I am so special that everybody else got gifts and I didn't. That's, again, doesn't it sound stupid when it comes out of my mouth? I'm sorry. I'm not calling you stupid. No, I'm not at all. I'm calling that idea very silly. It's the lie. One of the lies that we tell ourselves. I'm not gifted. I'm not good at anything. I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Well, you may not know. None of us know fully what our purpose is, but we all have a purpose. We all have gifts and abilities and talents, and we've been given specific gifts because we have a specific work to do, right? Like if I needed you to plant a garden, and I said, okay, I need you to go plant this garden for me, but then I give you pots and pans, right? And I don't give you a shovel, and I don't give you the green thumb, right? I don't give you the ability or the tools that you need to do that. That wouldn't be a fair expectation, right? For you to be able to finish that. And so it's the same way with God. If God has put you on the earth and given you a purpose and given you work to do, and giving you gifts and talents and abilities, He's not going to give you gifts and talents and abilities that you do not need. He's going to give you exactly what you need to accomplish the task, to finish your assignment. That's it. It's so logical. But we allow just the noise around us, the noise coming from the inside of us, our own fears, our own insecurities. We allow those things to really just keep us in darkness, to lie to us, to help. And then we nurture it, and we spend more time sinking ourselves into that than we do into sinking ourselves into discovering who we really are, right? And right, Ron says, Muhammad Ali said, I'm the greatest. And that's true. And I think again, and I loved it that he used Muhammad Ali because every time you heard him talk, he was just talking about how beautiful he was, how pretty he was, right? And of course, in his arena, in he when he stepped into the arena, he needed to have superhuman strength and confidence and all that to really deal with his opponent. And you got to remember, you have an opponent, whether you know it or not. And that opponent is doing everything he can, not just to stop you, but to kill you. And he wants to steal not just your things, your natural things, your possessions. He wants to steal your destiny. He wants to steal. He wants to steal your influence. He wants to destroy the gift on the inside of you. He wants he wants to destroy the gift on the inside of you because the gift on the inside is intended to set other people free. So if he knows if he stops you, then how many countless people will be stopped as well. And so it's really imperative that you figure out what your gifts are. And really, I heard somebody talk about the fact that there is one really central gift, right? There are other abilities and talents, but there's one gift. And I love making charts. And so one of the charts I made is, let me see, I'll tell you about this one. This kind of comes out, or this does come out of, I didn't do a slide for it, but out of Romans 12 and through Romans 12, 6 through 8. And that talks about gifts, and some people call them the motivational gifts. And I like that phrase because that speaks to core intrinsic motive, that gift that is a core intrinsic motivation, the thing that makes you move. And so for me, I'll give you a hint that there are for me, it's leadership, right? There are 7 that are listed, that are spoken of in those verses, and one is prophecy. And I think you could even you can interpret prophecy as insight, and service, teaching, encouraging, giving, leading, and mercy. And so my strongest gift is leadership, right? And so my job is to invest myself into that completely. And then there's all these other things that I can add to that. I can increase. There's other aspects of my personality that I can develop in pursuit, in the quest for making sure that I'm good at that. And so you want to make sure that you identify that one thing. What's the core? And I'm a brand strategist, and so what we always talk about, even with marketing and messaging, my team is always challenging me, like, what's the one thing? And I mentioned, I think you can do multiple things, but you do have to focus on whatever it is that you are investing your energy in at that time. You have to focus your energy on that and determine what's the one thing, what's the one message, what's the one action that I want people to take, what's the one outcome, right? So you want to make sure you identify what's the one. And we all have dimensions to our personality. We're not one dimensional. So you and I, we both have some measure of all of the gifts. We have the ability to function in any of them at any given time, but there is one that is the core, the center. It's the foundation of who you are and your personality. And you can take that. It's like transferable skill. And you can take that and use it wherever you go. So it doesn't matter what industry you're in, what work you're doing, what job you have. Doesn't matter any of that, because that one gift, you can use that and it'll manifest in everything that you do. And once you really master that, you master the habit of building on that strength, build and using that gift skillfully, then you're just going to watch your life transform. And so, and I want to make the point that that whole transformation in that process, when I talk about play, living your life at play, living your life at play is not living your life at ease. Living your life at play is going to be challenging at times. It's going to be, you're going to grow. You know, we talk about growing pains, but when you are really focusing on who you are and you're becoming the best version of yourself, you're learning and you're growing and you're investing who you are and you're seeing results. That is pain that produces. I talked about that before, because not doing it, not focusing and growing and learning and understanding and really understanding your gifts, then that is kind of by default, you're choosing pain that destroys, because you don't want to and I think I mentioned this too before as I was leading up to launching Vivid Talk Live. I've been planning it for 3 years. And as I was getting closer and closer and closer to actually doing it, I was afraid. I was terrified. And I found that the terror had to subside, because I thought, I do not want to have to stand before God and say, I didn't do it because I was afraid. So your gift is demanding a return. And so you are responsible for figuring out what it is. What it is, and then what are your secondary gifts, and how do those work together, and how do those gifts make you respond in any given situation? There's a book that I love also called Discover Your God-Given Gifts. It's by Don and Katie Fortune. You must get it, because it's almost like my Bible of gifts. And because it walks you through just systematically. It was written by somebody who also has a gift of leadership. And so that's probably one of the other reasons that I like it. But it's a really great way to, you got to dig in, because it's like seven quizzes within the book, and plus all of the explanation, which is fabulous. And then there are 100 questions per gift category. So you want to take some time in it, and really read the descriptions and answer your questions based on the descriptions, like in context, so that you get the most accurate result. But it's a fabulous, fabulous resource. You can even use it if you have children. You can kind of use that to examine what gifts your children will have as well. That's going to be super important for them to know who they are. Can you imagine what would your life be like now if, when you were 6, 7, 8, 9, your parents knew what your giftings were, and they were pushing you and nurturing you so that you could develop them? How powerful. So it's not too late. It never is. So but I want you to make a decision. If you haven't already, if you don't know, if you don't have an understanding, or if you just want a deeper understanding, because that's what this is about. You got to sink yourself into it so that you can really be aware and understand how to skillfully use your gifts. The other thing is, you need to be committed to your purpose. Committed. I mean, anytime you get a vision, and that's what, again, our purpose for the Vivid Brands and for Vivid Talk Live is to help you get a vision for every area of life, a revelation about every area of your life. And you have to make a decision that you're going to be committed to it once you see it, right? Once you see that future, once you imagine the future that you want to create, you got to be committed to it. And as soon as you get a vision in any area, it's going to be tested. As soon as you say, I want to run a marathon, not one of my goals, but if it's one of yours, as soon as you say it, something's going to come to challenge it. Well, and anytime I do start working out, something happens. Like the last 2 months, every time I've gone out and started working out, trying to get back on my walking and running, something happened. I twisted my ankle the first time around. So then I'm thinking my ankle's gonna heal up real quick and I'll be back out. No time. Next thing you know, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, they just went by. They did, and my ankle just did not want to get right. So the if I didn't have a vision for my health, and if I didn't understand, if I hadn't examined what makes me stop, how I got off track before, then when I saw that happen, it would be, and as the time just creeped by, it would have been that much easier for me to just go, I got too much to do. I won't do it. But I did just get out. I thought, okay, it's been long enough. I need to go out. I need to test this ankle. I need to at least walk and see. And so you have to know that difficulties and obstacles and setbacks and all those things, that's all part of the process. Because if you didn't have those things, you'd have no reason to do anything differently. I mean, you think about this pandemic and this civil rights issues and the economic crisis and all of these things that we are dealing with now, all at one time around the entire globe. And all of those things really, they have an opportunity to make us better. And as difficult as they may be, and as heartbreaking as so many of these stories are that we're hearing about families who are impacted directly by just the intensity of it all, and for those whose family members have lost their lives, or those who are fighting for their lives, all of those things are they're just devastating. They have the potential to totally stop you in your tracks, and they also have the opportunity to help you become the best version of yourself that you could ever be. And so we are responsible for how we respond. And hopefully you are surrounded by people that can help you and support you, and whenever you go through something like that. But bottom line, and I told you, Katrina and I were talking about this when the pandemic and everything hit. You know, the people who know themselves, those are the ones in tragedy, in difficult times. Those are the ones who can pivot faster, who can recover, who can come back stronger. Those are the ones who can celebrate and sing and believe even in the midst of the unthinkable, right? And so really being committed. And that commitment has to be you have to be laser focused. You have to decide, like, I've got a vision for what's ahead of me. And so nothing is going to stop me. And when you have vision, that's what I've discovered, even as a business coach, is that the entrepreneurs who have vision, those who literally physically cannot open their doors, and now we're threatening with all the uptick in cases, we're looking at possibly more shutdowns. But those businesses, those business owners are resilient. How many? I mean, they're looking for ways to stay in business. They're looking for ways to continue serving their communities. Some restaurants have completely changed and just changed what they were doing and made sure they were distributing food instead of charging for it, or instead of having, restaurants full of people. So commitment is vital. It is a vital step to your purpose. It's vital to be committed to to understanding who you were designed to be. That's imperative. And then the next thing is you have to grow and develop, right? You have to. And so how do you feel when it seems like you are not progressing in life? When you look up and all of a sudden you feel like life's passed you by. How does that feel? And we've all been there, right? Even if you might be there now, you might have been there last week, it might have been years, but the bottom line is we all get there. And so when you feel like everything is passing you by, that's because you're not growing and changing, that you somehow allowed yourself to get stagnant. And so what we have to do is be committed to growing and to developing. How do you build muscle? I only have ideas about it. I don't know exactly, but you've got to exercise. You've got to use the muscles, right? You've got to build your strength through resistance, right? So you have to learn how to press back against anything that's going to try to come at you to keep you from learning, to keep you from progressing, to keep you from moving forward. I heard somebody say, if you're not moving forward, you're going backward. And that's because the world is going to keep going. Time keeps moving. So if you're not moving with it, if you're not moving ahead of it, if you're not growing and changing, then you're going backwards. And eventually, because you weren't designed for that, eventually it's going to impact how you feel about yourself. So what we have to do is make sure that we have a focus on growth and development, and what do I need to learn next? What do I need to change? And we all kind of fall into our own routines and our own habits. And sometimes those habits aren't the best, right? But you have to really learn how to discipline yourself, make a decision, And I found that when I was younger, I was a whole lot more disciplined. If I decided I was going to work out, I'm still that way. If I decide I'm going to do something, I do it. But I find that it's harder. When I was younger, I could make a decision and it was really pretty simple. I could stay on track and I was cool. I'll get it done, make it happen, celebrate. Everything was great. But I find now that as I get older and older and older and older, I get more set in my ways. And I joke with my friends and I say, I really need to be watched. And I do. And so what I find that for me, that means that really I have to tell somebody, make myself accountable so that I will not fall back, so that I will be able to stay on track and to grow and to continue reaching for those goals and doing the right things, the things that I know that are going to make me the best version of myself, so that I can be useful to somebody else, so that I can finish the work that I've been called to do. And then the last piece is you want to make a difference. And some people, like I think I'm an extrovert. I think I'm probably more, people think of me as more of an extrovert than probably I really am, but I am comfortable being in front of people, being around people. I enjoy people. I enjoy being in leadership, all those things, because that's right, it's my gift, right? But at the same time, I still am uncomfortable in rooms full of strangers. I still have to I have to have a reason for being there to connect with people, on a personal basis when I don't know them. So you have to learn how to find meaning in everything that you're doing so that you can make a difference and you can utilize really everything that you are, your personalities, your disposition, your gifts, your purpose, your abilities, your experiences, everything, your successes, your victories, all of those things, they enrich you and refresh you, but they really are for other people. We really are here to do to change other people's lives, but you got to start with your own. And I think when we come out of this whole pandemic situation, please, hopefully soon, I think that when we come out, we'll have a greater appreciation for each other. I know I do. The few times I've been out and I've seen people, my friends, it's been amazing. It's just been so sweet. Like being able to see them on Zoom and see them on video is great. It's convenient, and that's better than nothing. But oh man, being in their presence is priceless. And so we have to realize that as difficult as it can be to deal with people, especially family and people close to you, the reason that we're here is for each other. And so you have to figure out how can you make a difference? Because giving is really more. Most time you get more out of giving than the person, the recipient of the gift gets. Haven't you? I love during the holidays. I love just really going overboard and wrapping up packages special and really thinking about what that gift I'm giving to that person and how they're gonna feel and all of that. And so I end up getting more out of giving the gift, just going through that entire process. And you got to understand that your entire life is a gift. You are here for a very specific purpose. And without you, the very thing that you are supposed to contribute, it's going to be missing. So the very thing you think you need, the thing that you wish would happen maybe in your neighborhood, the thing that you feel like is missing in your family, what you see as a deficiency in your job, in society, that you see that because you have a purpose, you have a part in changing that and making a difference. So, summary, to live your life at play, you have to know who you are, be aware of your gifts, commit to your purpose. Like, don't let anything stop you. Make a decision. I'm going to learn. I'm going to go back to school. If you feel like you need to go to school, you can learn online. You can learn so much. Anything you want to know, you can find it out. So you don't have to be limited in any way. But that you can grow. You need to grow and develop, to be always be on a program, right? But put yourself on a program and decide, this is what I'm going to do. And then be satisfied with the progress that you're able to make. And don't be so critical of yourself. You have to learn how to celebrate every step and every little bit of progress that you find and that you get. And then you want to make a difference. So the whole that sums up the entire play formula. It's strengths. Build on the best version of yourself. What's good about you? Build on that. Don't waste all your energy focused on the things that you're not good at. Focus on the things that you are good at, and then you're going to make your weaknesses irrelevant. You're going to be so good at that, right? That one thing, that's all that people are going to care about. And then you find meaning, what matters to you, what difference were you were born to make, and then that's how you spend your time. If you don't know what to do next, figure out what are you good at and what matters. What are you here to accomplish that's going to make a difference for somebody else? And then sink yourself into that. Spend your time with that. That's all I got for tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. Look, let's see. Renee said thief. You won't be able to tell me nothing. That's right, Renee. Oh yeah, Katrina. Wasn't your father a boxing coach? I think he was. So she said, "I love Ali. He was the original GOAT." Yeah, I love this spending this time with you. I hope you all are getting something out of it. Please let me know what that is. Give me some feedback. Let me know how this is going for you. If you have any questions, be sure you can post them in the comments. And if I don't see them or be able to answer them while I'm in live, I'll make sure we go back and look. You can also always email me on my website, gwenwitherspoon.com/contact. You can send me a question or a comment there. And then I want to make sure that you go ahead and follow me in social media. I am at Gwen Fuchsius on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, and Gwen Witherspoon Coach on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you next week, Wednesday, 7 p.m. right here.